Hello again everyone, and welcome back to my workshop. In this video we're going to look at how you set up an alarm to be triggered only after the value has been beyond a limit for some amount of time, and the alarm will not trigger if the value has not managed to reach that amount of time. For example, if you were looking for an alarm on the voltage drop of a battery, you don't want it to trigger if the voltage drop only lasted, say, a quarter of a second or a second or so. You might want the value to go there for, let's say, 4 or 5 seconds, and only then trigger the alarm. Now, there are some options in the menus that might fool you into thinking there's a very quick way of doing this, but these menu options are perhaps not what you think, so we'll take a look at them. First of all, you have to go to telemetry controls. MX1, take that, enable it. I'm going to take my sensor is telemetry, sensor 2. Type of control will be a switch, and we'll assume that it's voltage, airspeed, whatever it is, doesn't matter. So if the value falls below 20, we'll trigger the alarm. So 21, in other words, at 20 or less, the alarm will trigger. Now, the next menu option here is what some people mistakenly think would be how long it has to be below 20, or so below 21, and then the telemetry control will trigger. No, duration actually affects the output. So if we select, for instance, 5 seconds there, what will happen is it will trigger on even the briefest moment below 21, but the output would stay on for whatever seconds you've set here. So instead of the output matching the input condition, the output will stay on for whatever length of time is set there. So that will not solve your problem. You want it to come on after the input value has been on for some amount of time. Okay, so anyway, we've set up our telemetry control. Value is 20 or less, it will trigger. Now, the next thing you might think is, well, I can just go to my sounds on event, select the telemetry control as the switch, to that, select your file and select a delay. But the delay here again does not quite work in the way you're thinking. It won't count that the switch has had to be on for a certain amount of time and then trigger it. What happens is it simply delays making the announcement for X seconds, even if the switch came on for a fraction of a second. Let's prove that. We'll take that out. We'll just put in this switch here. I'll give it a simple sound file, 0, nice and easy. Turn the volume up a bit so I can trigger it.
0.
And now, if we come along here, we'll give it a 4-second delay. Now, watch me very quickly switch SC off, on, then off again. But there will be a 4-second delay, and it will still make the announcement even though it's off. So we'll trigger it at 45. It's off again.
0.
There you go. So that does not satisfy what we're after. Take that back down to 0. What we need to do is build in some way of the value having to be on for the length of time for the switch to come on. And we can do that 2 ways. You can use a sequencer, or you can simply use a logical switch. There's a sneaky thing in there, enabled. Come down here, our telemetry control. 1 goes in there. Say OK to that. Now, don't put in a control to, don't put in a condition. Come down here, change the slope to a vertical trigger just by pressing the programming button, and specify the length of time. We'll say 4 seconds again. Just to show you this very easily so you can actually see what's happening, we'll change that to again just be the switch. Now we come down here, let's have a look at this. There is the output from the switch. I'll switch it on here, I'll leave it on for 4 seconds, we'll see the output come on.
0.
There, the output's come on. We'll switch it off. Now what I'll do is switch it on very briefly. Watch, that doesn't come on. So on, off.
0.
See, it's just not coming on. We need to switch it on for a whole 4 seconds and leave it switched on for that output to come on. There we go. So now what we can do is use that with our sounds on event. Take out that switch, put in logical switch 1. There we go. Okay. And there's our value. Take it up high. Now, we'll take that value below 20. I'll turn the volume up a little bit. And we should hear, after 4 seconds of going below 20, it didn't work because, I'll take the value back up again, we forgot to change, was it the logic switch? Yes, silly me. Clear that out, put back in the telemetry control. So the telemetry control, if I take the value low, it switches on, value high switches off immediately, but the logic switch will do its job there of delaying it. So here we go, take the value below 20, wait for 4 seconds.
0.
Go above 20. And now we'll just go below 20 very briefly and notice that we then don't get the warning. There we go, no warning. So we'll take the value back down below 20 again just to prove it. Nearly there. Count to 4.
0.
There you go. So that's how you can build up a warning only after the value has exceeded the limit for a certain amount of time.